Namaste all. Today we are coming with another webinar with a new topic and relevant topic, very much needed for current times. And just before going to start it, I just want to give a theme, title, agenda, and about the presenters, a short introduction, and then we'll hand over the session to presenters. Hope I'm audible. If not, raise your hands or post in the group chat. Okay. Welcome to all. Today is Natural Equilibrium Group 95th webinar, and the topic is how to handle the fear and anxiety in pandemic times. And the presenters are Roopa Rao, counseling psychologist and NLP certified coach. And another presenter with us is Sunder Rajan Garu, NELG speaker. And a little bit about Roopa Rao Garu is she is a writer and fitness coach who has tried to be a life coach and counseling psychologist. She is a nature lover and spends a lot of time in gardening. She likes motivating people to do and be a better. And about Sundarajan Garu, he lives in Canada and he is a coach by profession. His interests revolve around the practical adoption and application of ancient Indian work like Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, and Yoga Sutras. He conducts weekly just a minute. He conducts weekly Bhagavad Gita sessions for North American Hindus Association, which is available on YouTube as well. Yes, without wasting much time, we'll hand over the session to both the presenters. Rupaji and Sundarajanji, welcome to you all.
Yeah, good evening. Namaste. Yeah, so a very good morning to all those who have joined in from North America, including my friend Sunder, who is the group presenter with me. And namaste and a good evening to all those who are joining in from my country. On behalf of Rajan, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you. This is session 1 of the seminar. We have 2 sessions, one this evening and one tomorrow. And we are hopeful that our session will benefit many. I will start my screen sharing and we will proceed with the... Give me 1 second, please. And I will start the screen sharing.
Yeah, meanwhile, this is the third webinar from Rupaji, and her earlier webinars were very interesting and very useful, especially those who are planning for next generations. Yeah, we see your screen.
Give me 1 second. I'm just getting my slides here. 1 second, please.
Okay.
Roopa, let me know if you want me to present. I have it ready.
You can present, Sundar. I'm trying to share the screen. Just give me. Yeah, I got it. Yes, so are you able to see the screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. So welcome. And today the topic is how to handle fear and anxiety. We are all aware that we are living in pretty unusual and unnatural conditions right now, and the times are pretty abnormal around us. And each one of us is going through it in different ways. The predominant emotion seems to be fear. Okay, so each one of us, we are expressing it in different ways, I think. The thing is that the words positive, negative, etc., seem to bring completely different kind of connotations and feelings around here. We are afraid not just for ourselves, but for others as well. Whether it's a small kid or an adult, we are all what kind of results we are talking about. In such an atmosphere, when what we see and feel all around us is fear, chaos, uncertainty, and despair, is there a way that we can keep calm, cool, collected, compassionate, confident, be mindful and joyful so that we don't waste our lives away because we really don't know when the situation is going to end? The major idea behind our talk is that while we may not be in a position of no fear, at least we should come to a position of less fear. The situation is such that maybe no fear is not a possibility. However, less fear is something that we are trying to do today. And let us be very frank and open about it. Death is the ultimate fear. Right? Everybody. I would like to quote Yuval Noah Harari here, and this is about acceptance. And we are going to be talking more about acceptance tomorrow in session 2 of the seminar. But I have a quote here, and I will leave it at that because all of us think of this topic in a very different way. We have to own up to our transience, means our non-permanence on this planet, and we have to shoulder the burden of our individual mortality. So I will leave it at that, and let us see whether we can go ahead and we can get ourselves into a state of a little less fear after today's session. I have a question for you, and I want your participation through the chat, please. I request you all to share your words. You need not put in sentences. My question to you is, what is going on with you these days? How do you feel? What are your feelings? Can you please put those things in your chat box, please? I'd really like to see that. Take a minute. And Sunder, I request you to just read out the chat words to me because right now I'm not able to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be open, frank, and honest. Whatever feelings are going through you these days, just put down all those words.
So I think we have started with uncertainty. So Narendra Garu is saying uncertainty. Absolutely. I think everybody's feeling that.
Can you speak a little louder, Sunder?
Yeah. So uncertainty is the first one. So can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Perfect. And we're waiting for more responses, and we encourage. I think everybody's having like certain feelings, right? Just the moment you start putting that into words, it becomes easier to control. Random thoughts. Absolutely. And what else? Like, is it anxieties or? Okay. Worry and concern with what is going on in India.
Okay.
Anxiety, there is fear. And anxious for the next generation and lack of interest in office work, the disengagement.
Great. Thank you so much. Keep those words coming in. And I have put in some words here, which I think are the words that you already have put in the chat. So here are the words that we most commonly hear. Okay, top to bottom. And the last line, I am not sure if anybody has put in these words: calm, cool, happy, content, brave, and firm. But these are the words that we look. Thank you for putting in those words there. I want to give you an experiential demonstration now about the effect of the mind or the thoughts on your feelings and actions. The three words here: thoughts, feelings, and actions. One of the major things that distinguishes human beings from animals is the ability to visualize, to imagine. So I will ask you, my dear friends who have joined me here today for this talk, take a very close look at this dark alley, this dark road in front of you. The walls are black, there's hardly any light, the cobbled stones. Close your eyes now. You are in that road and you are waiting to go home. Before you reach home, you have to walk on this road for about 200 to 300 meters, and only then you will reach home. I hope you're all on the dark road with me, walking. You're alone. There is nobody else around you. As you walk and you're imagining the dinner that you're going to get when you reach home, you hear a sound on your left, a rustling sound. Clear? And the first thought that comes to your mind is, it's a cat. Meow, Billy, it's a cat. You only hear a sound. So it's a cat, right? Now what do? How do you feel? You say, okay, it must be a cat, it's a Billy. You're relaxed and you walk on as usual. As you walk, a second thought comes to your mind. The second thought, oh my God, it must be somebody following me. Maybe it's somebody out there waiting to rob me. Maybe it's somebody out there trying to harm me. I'm all alone on this road. I'm all alone. It's so dark. What happens to your feelings? You immediately become anxious. You're scared. Your heart beats so fast. Your heart is beating so fast. And what do? What's your action? You try to walk quickly because your main aim here is to go to safety. You want to walk fast and get out of that dark road. And then what happens? You see a cat run from behind you to the front. You actually see this cat, this Meow Billy, running away from you. It's a cat. You see it. What happens now? You are so relaxed. You heave this great sigh of relief. You say, Amaya, it's a cat. And then what do? You slow down. You start walking at your usual pace. Okay. Now snap out of that. Let's take a quick look at what's happened. It's a cat. You're relaxed and cool. You just walk away normally. That's thought one. Thought two, you think it's a threat. It's somebody who might harm me. You get scared. Your heart beats fast. You go so fast. Why? You want to be safe. You want to get away. It's a thought two. Oh, what's the fact? It's a cat, right? It's walking there. Two. You smile. You relax. This is huge element of relief. And then you walk again normally. And that is how our mind and thoughts work. The main thing I want you to observe here, thought versus fact. Your thoughts made you so absolutely scared, and the fact made you absolutely relaxed. And this connection between your thought and your feeling and your behavior is put in the form of what we call as a cognitive triangle. Thoughts influence feelings. So you saw it was a cat, you were relaxed. You thought it was a cat. You thought it was somebody out to harm you, immediately you became tense. And remember, your behavior changed accordingly. When you're relaxed, you were walking normally. When you were tense, when your heart was beating so fast, you changed. Right? The opposite is also true. The opposite is also true. What you do, your action. Let's say that you're spending your time with your friends, you have a great time, you're laughing, you're talking, maybe on the phone, not really, but you're enjoying. That's what you're doing, right? Your action. What happens to your feelings? You feel so happy, you're thrilled, you're so delighted to be with your friends. What happens to your thoughts? Will you ever have a negative thought? No way. So you see, understand this connection and you will be able to change your feeling as well as your behavior. So thoughts have unlimited potential to directly or indirectly make you feel empowered, uplifted, and hopeful, and the opposite of that as well. So we want to be on the right track with our thoughts. Here, I'm going to do another experiential demonstration with you. And again, the wonderful thing about human beings is that we have the ability to imagine and visualize. This is going to take a few minutes. I assume that you're sitting somewhere in your chair. I ask you to be relaxed and comfortable. Take a look at this image, which is filling your screen. It's of a beautiful lake. It's so calm. All that you can hear is this gentle sound of the waves lapping against the banks of the river, this lake. You are here. You're very much on the banks. I ask you now to close your eyes. Close your eyes. Sit comfortably in your chair. Put your arms on your thighs and be relaxed. Pay attention to the sound around you. Maybe the fan is on, maybe the AC is humming. Bring your attention to the top of your head. Get your awareness to your forehead. Slowly bring your awareness to your eyes, to your nose, to your lips, to your cheeks and your chin. Slowly bring that awareness to your neck, to your shoulders, to your chest. Breathe and feel your chest move. Enjoy that feeling and be very much mindful of how your chest is rising and falling with your breath. Be relaxed and bring your awareness to your stomach. Bring your awareness to your hips, where you're sitting on that chair. Bring your awareness to your thighs. Bring your attention down to your knees and feel your knees so warm and tingly. Bring your attention down your knees to your shin and your calves. Bring your attention to your ankles and your feet. Maybe they are resting and touching the floor. Bring your attention back to your chest and feel it rise and move along with your breath. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out. Feel your chest move This beautiful air going in and out. Bring your attention back to the top of your head, to your forehead, to your eyes. And in your eyes, see that beautiful blue lake that you started off with. That lovely calm lake with the gentle waves. Breathe in slow and deep. You are on the shore of that beautiful lake. You can hear the waves, so gentle and rhythmic. Take another deep breath. Whenever you feel like, open your eyes slowly and see that beautiful lake in front of you. You're back now into reality. How did you feel the past few minutes? Can you quickly type in the chat box, please? I'm waiting for your responses. How did you feel the past few minutes? Sunder, if we have any responses, may I request you to read them out to me?
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, I'm too relaxed to even type this. It's absolutely relaxing. And I'll wait for others to just type in and see how it is. There you go. Calm, relaxed. They're cool. It's very soothing. Very nice. And keep it coming. We'll give it about 30 more seconds and then we'll move on. Yeah, it'll be great to share your thoughts because this is a session where we all share. It's a very collaborative, interactive session.
Thank you.
Okay. Over to you, Roopa.
So I believe that it was extremely relaxing and calming. Your breath was so deep, slow, normal, and natural. And my question for you, did you think of anything else while you were doing this? Did you worry at all during this exercise? Did any amount of fear come into you? Did you feel any kind of anxiety? And I know that your answer will be a resounding no. The reason is this was absolutely an in the moment experience. Mindfulness is what I demonstrated to you and what you experienced. Please remember, mindfulness is not just about the mind, the body is very much involved. You are always in touch mentally with your body. So this is something I'll be talking about in detail tomorrow evening in session number 2. And this is the way that you should feel more often. Please use this exercise for yourself whenever you feel the need to be connected, whenever you want to be relaxed and calm, and share this exercise with others. And after having this experience, which is so calming and relaxing, request you take a few seconds for the first and the most important emotion for positivity, which is gratitude. Take a few seconds and say, I'm grateful. I'm so grateful to be alive and here. Send out thanks to whoever you want to. Feel gratitude fill you. Now tell me, on an everyday basis, how would you like to feel? How would you like to feel? Can you please share your words in the chat box, please? Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I'll keep an eye on it.
Thanks. How would you like to feel?
Very nice. Calm and relaxing and happy. Thanks, Prasad. Enthusiastic. Very nice. Minus negativity. Yeah. Rejoiced. Joyful. I love the range and the variety. Lively. Very nice. Blissful.
Great. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Thankful. Yeah.
Very nice. Very
Stay positive
nice.
and helpful. I'll just read it out because it's amazing. Stay
So
positive and helpful, energetic, and ignoring the fear of COVID. Wonderful. So over to you, Rupa.
amazing. Amazing. So I think I have some of the words here and excellent. So when we are talking about feelings and emotions, I want to introduce you to what's called as the emotions field. And you just expressed a lot of feelings now. This is a great tool that you can use to actually be very specific about how you're feeling. The two reasons why I want you to take a very close look at this wheel. One is that there's so many dimensions to an emotion. You have what are called as primary emotion, a secondary emotion, a tertiary emotion, and they're all in three layers of the wheel here. And when we are able to specify what kind of emotion we are feeling, it helps us a lot in order to understand what we are going through and where we want to move to. So the two spectrums, so it's a spectrum, it's like a rainbow, color coded, so that it's easy for you to find your words. Maybe tomorrow I'll talk a little more in detail about this. The starting point for all those wonderful things that you shared, all the wonderful words that you use, and how do you want to feel? It all boils down to one thing. The starting point is, how do I handle fear? Keep in mind the cognitive triangle, the experiences that you have had the past 20, 25 minutes. And I would like now, I request my friend Sunder Rajan to take over. He's going to give you a lot of tips on how to go to where you want to be as far as your feelings or emotions are concerned. It will be followed by an experience sharing by a person who has undergone an experience, and then it will be followed by the Q&A. Sundar, request you to take over now. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I'm just going to share my screen. Give me a second and I'll start from there. Thank you so much, Rupa. So, welcome everybody, and thank you, Rupa, for leading into this. And I always love to start with a story. And today, I'm going to tell you a story connected to what Rupa was talking about earlier with respect to the thoughts, feelings, and actions. And one of my favorite stories from childhood is the story of the wish fulfilling tree. So, some of you may already have heard, but I'm going to connect this to the topic today. There was a traveler who was traveling far and weary. Then he was very tired, and he rests under a tree. This is a random tree in a forest. And once he rested, he was very hungry. Like he was being very, and he started having this craving. So he said, I'm very hungry and I wish I had some food. And lo and behold, there was food magically that appeared in front of him. Initially, the person was terrified and he didn't understand what was happening. And then he said, I'm thirsty. I need some water. And water appeared. So he had his food, he had his water, and he felt satisfied. And now the wish turned into wants. So he just wanted to experiment and see if it is the tree or some other magical being or a ghost somewhere there. And he said, I want some more food, and just in case I feel hungry. And lo and behold, that wish was fulfilled too. And now this gentleman figured out that there is some magical being somewhere that's fulfilling all his wishes, wants, and desires. And now he said, I really want a nice bed and a hookah so I can sleep. And lo and behold, there it was. Like he set up a tent there. He started living under the tree because he has nowhere to go, no work to be done, and he was pretty satisfied, right? And now he started asking for other things. Now the wish turned into wants. I want some entertainment. I want this. I want that. And suddenly he had a doubt in his mind. Wait a minute. Now I'm getting all the things I'm asking for. What if a tiger comes out of nowhere? And what if it eats me? And the moment he thought about it, what happened? A tiger pounces, comes, and eats him because his wish is the tree's command. And I'm connecting it back to the thoughts, feelings, and actions because here, the fable, even though it talks to children about the tree and the gentleman and the wishes, it is really talking about the power of the mind. The mind is a fulfilling tree, and your wishes, whatever you ask for, is being registered into your subconscious and will manifest as your feelings and later into actions. That's why people talk about manasa, vacha, karmana, right? And whatever your thoughts, so are your actions. And the mind is an extremely powerful tool. It can either be a boon or a curse. So be careful what you pray for, because whatever you wish or pray for, you'll have to take care of it. You'll have to deal with it. So better direct your thoughts towards what is positive, right? Your thoughts create your reality, and your mind is more powerful than you know it. Because when I talk about this lecture, you're actually listening to it with the filter of all your past learning. The same seminar can mean multiple things to multiple people based on your level of experience, the amount of worries, and all the learning biases that we have had throughout. And this is how the world works. This is not a reality based world, this is a perception based world. And that is where we are going towards. Therefore, we'll start understanding how the mind works and harness it and take it towards how the mind can benefit us rather than destroy us. Okay. Now, I have a favorite quote from the Bhagavad Gita, which says, Uddharet atmanatmanam na atmanam avasadayet atmaiva hyatmano bandhu atmaiva ripuratmanaha. Now, even though it says in Sanskritam, the actual meaning is very practical. It says, use your mind to elevate yourself. So, elevate yourself with the help of your mind and never ever let yourself down, because your mind can be your best friend, and it can also be your worst enemy. Now, how can it be your best friend or worst enemy? If you can control your mind, then it's your best friend. If your mind starts controlling you, then it becomes your worst enemy because it drags you here and there and doesn't allow you to sleep, and all this lack of peace and all this lack of the fears and other things that's bothering you, the stress, the anxiety that you mentioned earlier, is all because the mind is taking us for a ride. And what do we do about it? I mean, we know the situation. Sometimes we feel helpless, sometimes frustrated, but is there a way out? The first thing is to understand that the moment you don't control your mind and you allow it to control you, you are vulnerable to attack from every direction. And the stress that's coming from here and there are of two types. Stress can be either internal or it can be external. Now, when I talk about external stress, all of us know that we are exposed to the mainstream media that talks about COVID and this and that. So you open any random page of a newspaper or any media, and they talk about negative news. Or social media, or even mainstream media, you turn on to any channel, there'll be 15 gentlemen shouting at each other. It's all designed to pump up your adrenaline and cortisol levels and make you on the brink of anxiety. And this is how it's designed by design. It's designed to make you nervous. So once we turn off the mainstream media, we go to what? Social media. And you see all the posts about COVID and the things that are happening around, or WhatsApp forwards and all that yarn that you get. If you turn that off, you have friends and relatives talking nothing about except for the negativities. And then if you have our own confirmation bias, all these are external factors that trigger internal responses and makes us sit on the brink of the edge of the seat. So you're anxious, You're constantly anxious. So what happens is you have an anxiety fatigue. So let us say you turn all this off. Your mind is already agitated. You want some time alone. Now, what has happened? Because of all the external triggers, your mind is at a level where it starts generating its own internal demons. So you have needless worrying, you have internal monologues, you start projecting your fear. Like you have somebody coughs, and what happens? You turn around. You don't want to associate with the person, or you lock yourself indoors. Things will happen that will actually segregate you from the external world, and you're afraid needlessly projecting onto other people, or you build upon your imaginations. And a direct cause of all this is loneliness. You have nobody to share your feelings with, the real feelings. I'm not talking about COVID related feelings, the real feelings. You've forgotten how to live. The last 1.5 years has been nothing but locked in, cooped up living, and we've somehow adapted to exist with this kind of uh, a new environment, but internally we are free birds. So that's a conflict that's causing us to be down, depressed, or even languishing, right? So, what do we do? We'll talk about how to overcome that or what we can do. So, fear, let me talk about the first thing, which is fear. Fear, all of us know, is false evidence appearing real, meaning it is not a real thing, it's your perception that you're reacting to. You're not reacting or responding to a situation. You're reacting or responding to a perception. So, when we talk about fear, let us talk about what it is. You're not afraid of something. If you're afraid of something, just face it. Fear is irrational, right? The only way to conquer it is just stand next to it. Courage in the face of fear. Now, back to the Bhagavad Gita, when I talked about how your mind can be trained, you have to cultivate a quality called abhayam. Abhayam is fearlessness. It is not courage, or it's not, foolishness of going out there and not wearing a mask. It's fearlessness. And that comes in the face of fear, meaning feeling the fear and still going on no matter what. And before I qualify what is fear, so let me actually take a minute to talk about good fear and bad fear. Good fear has built by nature, it gave you fear for a reason, to preserve you. Let us say a tiger is chasing you and you felt no fear. Well, human race would not have survived. Or if you had no fear of falling off a cliff, it's a problem. Or if you have no fear of wearing a mask when you go outside, it's a problem. So good fear always preserves you. That's a good thing. Adapt it, keep it. But there's also the other part, the dark side of fear, which is bad fear, which is unnecessary. And this is what we are talking about today, right? It is an irrational fear of needlessly worrying and projecting ourselves and throwing or stressing ourselves down when the fear response is not warranted. Okay. And this stems from ignorance and attachment. This eats up your confidence, it eats up your self esteem, and it directly affects your health. Now, when you're anxious, stressed out, what happens is in your body, your cortisol level increases. There was a time when cortisol was required, like your adrenaline rush and cortisol was required when a tiger chased you and you had to run away. But today, when you're watching TV, the same kind of cortisol levels just shoot up. And this causes stress in your body. And over time, cortisol actually damages your internal organs. It makes you grow old faster. If you don't believe me, you can look it up on Google, cortisol, right? And that is affecting your health whether you know it or not. It is increasing your weight. So stress actually is directly connected to, weight increase, and a whole bunch of other things. And it is your first enemy that you have to defeat. When I say it, I mean the irrational fear. Okay. Now, let us talk about, we have talked about fear, but let us talk about how to handle it. Everybody knows how to talk about fear. Now, the first and foremost thing, when we started the session, we asked everybody to actually name it and type how you're feeling. And the reason was you have to acknowledge how you feel and you have to give a name to it. The moment you know how you feel, You can address it. If you do not know you have a problem, it is hard to actually address it. And when somebody talks to you or gives you an advice, it becomes more irritating rather than helpful. But the moment I say I need help, like, then it's easier. Like, only when I know that I feel sick, that I go to a doctor. If somebody comes and tells me when I don't feel anything, and somebody comes and tells me, hey, you have to do A, B, and C, and I'll say, no way. I'll feel offended. And that's where acknowledgement is a very important step and the first step. And once you acknowledge it, you have to understand that feeling. You have to put a finger on it and say, okay, now I find this not every moment of the day, probably when XYZ happens. Like, you have to find your trigger factors. You have to start observing it. And it's a very conscious decision. And I'll tell you a little later as to how I did it myself. But you have to start analyzing your triggers, and you have to think of a response that you will give when the triggers happen. So let's say next time you're worried, you have to find out why I'm worried and how I'm going to respond to that kind of a situation. Let's say TV is getting me worried, or somebody is calling up and constantly talking to me about some other, did you hear about this or that? So how am I going to respond? So the moment you start visualizing your response, it's much easier for you to be prepared, right? And find one thing you can change to make that response happen. So it's called continuous improvement. Find one thing you can change each day and start improving yourself. Monitor it. See if that's subsided. Find another thing to change. So keep on changing. Like, micro changes will actually help you change yourself for the better. And you have to, this doesn't come for free. You have to set some time every day to work on yourself, because you are the most important person, right? Job comes later, health comes first, family comes first, relationships comes first. What do? We treat it the opposite. So do this first, and redirect your attention from yourself and your worries towards how to positively change yourself. And all this takes faith and optimism. The reason I say faith and optimism as an important step is, some days you don't feel like going forward. Some days you feel like nothing is working. I don't want to continue this, right? When you hit the low rock bottom, faith is what keeps you going. Your optimism is what keeps you going. I can move forward. Self confidence, right? So that is very important. Once you follow the 6 steps, tomorrow again, as Rupa said, we'll be talking about the other side, which is the being in the moment and all those things. But today, just take these 6 steps, and in the question answers, if you have any questions, just ask, and we'll talk more about it. But this works every time for me. Like, I used to be a worrier when I was a kid, and now I'm incapable of worrying. I cannot worry. Like, actually, as we speak, like 5 hours ago, there was a fire that started in a building like 100 meters away down the street. There's fire trucks there. Am I anxious? No. I mean, I know what's happened, but there are firemen who'll take care of it. There's smoke all over. So if you hear me coughing, it's because of that smoke. I trust the system. I don't have to feel anxious, and my worrying is not going to change any situation. And your attitude should be accept things for they are, and give the right response to the right time. If help is needed, and if at any point somebody comes and says you have to evacuate, I'm ready for it. But I don't spend a single second worrying about what will happen or what could happen. It's just practical responses to practical situations. Okay? And this works every time. And to guide yourself positively, there are so many activities. There is stress and yoga and pranayama. That's a wonderful thing you can do 5 minutes a day, morning and evening. Or tomorrow again, we'll talk more into this, as you can spend your time on stress management things like spa and exercise and yoga and walk in the nature with a mask, right? Concluding, because we are coming down to the video and the question answer time, I just want to end with saying that listening to this lecture or listening or reading books on self help is all great. It makes you feel good. But you cannot learn to swim by just reading a book. Unless you act, none of this advice is going to be helpful. Action and action alone is going to be helping you. So let us all take that 6 steps, and what Rupa said, like learning to relax and engaging ourselves fully accepting or embracing us and taking ourselves, uddharet atmanatmanam, taking ourselves from where we are towards positivity. And we'll see one such video of a wonderful gentleman who actually has been through, and actually I won't reveal what happened, but we'll see how positivity has helped a person with COVID or in the times of COVID, and their response and reaction to it. And please let me know if you can hear it. So I'm going to play the video and let me know if the audio is audible then. Is
Not
the
yet.
audio level good?
No, not at all.
Audio,
Can-
we're not able to hear Sunder. Maybe you can
Okay. I don't know how
start
to.
it again.
Yeah. So how do I set the audio here?
No, it just come. If you're able to hear that, it will come in Zoom also.
Yeah, I am able to hear it. So let me replay it. I've put it at full, and okay. Is it good now?
No, Sunder, still unable to hear it.
Maybe share that link. I will play that from my side.
Okay. Rupa, can you share the link? It's
Give me
the
one
Google
second.
Drive, Google Drive one. Yeah.
One second. One second.
I'll wait.
Yeah, Sudhir, I've sent it to you on your WhatsApp.
Okay.
It's on your WhatsApp.
Yeah. Meanwhile, if anybody has any questions, then we can open it up and tell us how you feel.
Please raise your hands if you want to have a talk or if you don't have any questions. Meanwhile, we play the video.
Exactly.
This is a 4.5 to 5 minute video, and we will just get it on in a minute.
Yeah.
In the meanwhile, if there are any questions, yes. So Sujata is asking, how can I worry
Worry
less?
less. Okay. So the first step would be
What's
to
the
understand.
here?
So Sujata, what would be the major cause of your worry? Like I said, the 6 steps, right? So I'm glad that you found the first step, which is you accept or acknowledge that there is worry. And second step would be the triggers for your worry. Like what all are the things that make you worry? Like it's not the triggers, but internally you worry about XYZ, right? So the situations. So once you understand that, see how many times those situations stress you out. Distraction is a great way, but distraction only goes so far as to being a temporary stop. The long term would be to understand why you worry and how you respond to those situations, tiny, like micro increments. So I don't want to ask you or put you on the spot and say, what causes you to worry, but how many times a day roughly would you worry? So if you can
Yeah, please.
unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not able to post the link here. Sundar, can we just try once more? Because we did a dry run of that.
Let me
Is it
give it a
possible?
try. Yeah, let
Just
me give it a try.
check, please.
But with mine, it's going to be the same thing, right? So it's going to be the same as being a not to be able to play it from my computer. Or Rupa, can you post it on the chat here itself? and stuff on WhatsApp. Okay, meanwhile, any other questions? So it's the next one. Yeah, there you go. No, audio is not clear. Audio is not there.
One second, I got the link and I'm trying to play.
Namaste, my name is Girish. A month back, I was infected with COVID 19, and Namaste, my name is Girish. A month back, I was infected with COVID 19, and again, as usual with a lot of people, I was also panicked, and it was quite devastating.
It's audible, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
But I managed to go through the whole scenario quite smoothly because of various things I had to do before COVID got infected. Over a year, we are all seeing this pandemic uh, playing a havoc in all our life. So initially, there was a lot of issues where people were very apprehensive about what's going to happen. So there was a media created news saying that once you get COVID, death is always 100% confirmed. So that is not the case. Actually, now as we have gone through this whole process for more than a year, so now we know. So with COVID, there is a lot of people who are getting recovered very fast. Human brains are really trained to think negatively. So right from the beginning, we get very easily affected with negative media, negative information, and our mind will start thinking more of the negative. So if you see in COVID case, there is 99% chance of recovering. There's only 1% death. But somehow our brain is tuned to think about 1%. 99% of our brain thinks about 1%. So what I did to go through this whole process is I would like to share some positive aspects which I did. Initially, I made a checklist of things what I should do if in case I'm infected with COVID. So like, what should I do? Whom should I inform? Should we have a doctor on hand? Should we go to a hospital? So all these things was mentally noted down. So once I got the information that I was positive, definitely like any other people, I was also devastated. But subsequently, I had a very good support system at home. My wife, who thinks very positively, she always kept on telling, "Don't worry about it because you'll come out of it without any issue." So she brought me back, and I went into the action. So once I went into the action, immediately we started calling up all the relevant people to get the information, whether we need to get admitted. So that process went on, and finally we had to get admitted because my mom was also infected. Subsequently, once we were in hospital, again, the hospital atmosphere is very, very devastating feeling. So there, what I did was I started getting into a routine where I was able to get into work, so that once you start getting into work, your mind will be very much focused on your work, and you don't think about all these things. Because in the hospital, all you will be doing is in the morning, they'll get you a set of medication, evening, you'll get a set of medication, whole day you are pretty much for yourself. So during this period also, what I was doing is I started thinking about what to do after I come out of COVID. Think about your goals, set your goals, do what best you can do your society. So a lot of positive things I started thinking about it. And one of the major thing I did was cut down on news, cut down on TV channels, cut down on WhatsApp groups who talks only about COVID and all the negative aspects. So these are the things which really help me to keep my mind sane and come out of this whole situation. So what I would like to share is a lot of my friends and family kept on calling me every day so that they were able to keep my spirits up. So build a network who can call you when you're in difficult time and talk about something other than what's going on. So that keeps your mind more fresh and positive. Okay, so this is what I would like to share. Think positive, come out of it. It's nothing great. As I said, 99% of the people can get recovered, and you can definitely get recovered. Please stay safe and stay calm. All the best.
Yeah. Sundarji.
Yeah. So thank you again. Thank you for playing that, G. So I'm glad. So I want to open up because we are almost close to the top of the hour. So any questions? So hearing it from a person who has already gone through it, and I think Giri is also here. So any questions to open up, and I'll also refer back to Rupa, so we can ask us, and we'll be answering in turns in the next 3 minutes that we have, or just let us know about your comment and what you felt about the seminar in general.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for joining today's webinar. And what is great combination of modern medical science or modern studies combined or blended with ancient wisdom. Very useful and needful to the current situation. And especially the video is very, it's giving more motives, more power, and it will just remove the fear. And it's a very common thing that if someone is fear of the COVID, first thing they have to do is turn off the TV and move away from this WhatsApp and social media chats. That itself will prevent many things. Yeah, participant, just raise your hands or unmute yourself if you want to have any questions or any things you want to talk to the presenters.
Yeah, I can see Sudhaji.
I think Mrs. Sudha Shetty, yes, I think she has a question. I can see her raise her hand. Can you unmute yourself, madam?
Yeah, Sudhaji, please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Sir, can I get recording?
Yes,
We are from Mumbai. Some internet problem. We can't.
Yes, if you are in the NELG
Uh-huh.
group, and I will share the recording, the group link is given in the WhatsApp group chat. Just click on that.
Okay,
We'll be joining and we'll be keep sharing.
okay,
And among that,
okay, sir.
we are also having many preventive ways to deal, improving our immunity and using dry ginger powder and taking Saptapatra Kashayas. All those details will be
Acha,
posted in the NELG. Yeah.
You're from this place, sir?
I am from Hyderabad.
Hyderabad. Acha, acha. Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Would anybody like to ask any questions about the topic that we had today?
I don't see any questions.
Yeah, looks like
So top of the
Priya
hour.
Rajan. Please ask your question. Yeah.
This pandemic situation, how can we help others? Because the more, when we call others, the more news is they are saying it's so depressing, and we want to help them, but how to make them, feel better, to tell this is like people, when they say things, very bad about like what's going on in their family and all. So, right.
Okay, it's a very good question. Basically, there are multiple ways, right? So if you're far off and remote, one is monetary help. Sorry, go ahead, Girish, like you raised your hand.
Can you unmute yourself, Giri?
No, just ask. We'll complete this question and then we'll move forward to the next
I
one.
think, yeah, go ahead,
No,
please.
it's okay. Yeah, I was unable to unmute. That's the reason I just.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's okay. Go ahead.
No, you were going to respond
No,
to the
please.
question.
So, no.
Okay. So what I was saying is there are help comes in multiple levels. One is monetary help, which is the thing you can do if you're far away and you're not in a position to help your immediate community or far off community. But your immediate community, uh, be safe, wear your mask and other things, but you can serve food to or bring groceries to the elderly or people who are not able to leave their house. Or even if you're remote, call up your relatives, call up your friends, and offer positive, offer your time basically, and listen a lending ear, because there are so many people who are lonely and they don't have anybody to talk to, and when they talk to, it's like the media that's bombarding them with all the, the high toxic news, and they're worried even more. So the best way, or start a small group. We'll be talking tomorrow in depth about the community part of things, the immunity and the community and the activity and all. But just in short, if you're in a position to help, then find opportunities and talk to like-minded people, start a small group, and just go out and help. The only way to help is just start and seek opportunities, and groups like this, like the one we have now, is a wonderful way to start volunteering or pitching ideas that you can volunteer. So you're in either a position that you can volunteer, or you have somebody who's needing help and has an opportunity. So these kind of forums are wonderful. Hope that answers your question. Yeah, go ahead, Giri.
Wonderful. And
I just want to mention one thing. I mean, in our apartment, uh, we are about 350 houses in our apartment. What we have done is we have created a COVID action group or volunteer group, where people who are ready to volunteer are in this group. So whenever the residents ask for help, so we every block has a individual group where we help them to get the groceries or whatever it is to their doorstep, because they cannot come out. That is the one way of helping. Another is, again, if there is a requirement for oxygen beds and all, we have a list. We have compiled a list of all the contacts, and we'll try to reach and try to help them as much as possible. So as Mr. Sunder mentioned, a group which is active, okay, where everybody can contribute and ensure that you can help in even in a way where you can talk to them. Because what I do is I call them, talk to them, message them every alternate days to find out how their health is. That itself gives a lot of support to them, because especially if you're home quarantine, you're within the four walls, you can't come out of your room or a house. That will really creates a lot of mental headache, actual mental block. So to help them, you just talk to them. One of the things which I mentioned in the audio also, my friends, they used to call me, my doctor used to call me almost every day. So that keeps on giving you a lot of energy to pass through this phase.
Yeah, wonderful.
Thank you, Girish. Any other question? Does anybody have?
Yeah, we have one more question. Before that, I just want to add, there are many natural ways to prevent the corona, not only dealing with the natural ways. So be part of the natural cooling group or any other group where we have a discussion with scientific proofs and support, because we are supporting dry ginger powder to make a sniff and to put in mouth as a preventive method is as like a second mask. And definitely is going to be very useful to having such kind of discussions. Yeah, Jitendra ji, and ask your question.
Yeah. Thanks for hosting this. It's really useful. Just I'm thinking post-COVID, do you have any thoughts how as a society we need to change to move forward? Do you have any thoughts on that? Right now we see all the chaos and everything, but post-COVID, how we need to change as a society so that we can better ourselves?
Roopa, go ahead.
Yeah, so a couple of thoughts that come to my mind. One is whatever we say now, it's going to be hypothetical because we really have no way of knowing what is going to change, how it's going to change, and more importantly, when it's going to change. I think time is so important when it comes to determining change. Jitendra ji, I would say there's going to be a lot of change the way humans we are going to think, behave. I'm extremely concerned, especially about the younger generation. I'm really concerned about the kids who have sort of no peer connection at all. It's really humans learn through peer connection and learning, and that is one thing that really makes me wonder how kids are going to interact socially. Youngsters, teenagers especially. I have a young son, and he tells me about loneliness and how he feels isolated. So for children, for teenagers, for youth who are still to explore and find opportunities for themselves, they are going through a difficult time, and in the future how it's going to be, I think predictability is a little, up to your imagination and creativity, maybe, is what I would say.
Absolutely. And I'd like to add to it. Thank you, Roopa. So the one thing about the post-COVID or even the current situation is, I don't know about India, but in North America, in Canada at least, we're talking about mental health becoming one of the most important sectors to address. And at every organization level, we're having mental health week. Open up, talk to people. Don't keep your feelings down to yourself. But if I see the pandemics in the past, the flu, the influenza of 1920, or the plague before, it was devastating. And after that, people actually pick themselves up, and life moves on. But the thing is, as long as there is hope, things are possible. The moment you lose hope, everything goes down. So have hope and see opportunities on how you can help without endangering yourself and other people. So which is like social distance, and have faith that over time, no solution is possible overnight. Like what Rupa said, the future is distant and post COVID is not going to be predictable today. But as we approach, there are multiple things you can do in your capacity or as a community that you can help yourselves. And if multiple communities start coming together and starts focusing on how we can revive, that itself is going to be a great change, right? Getting back to normalcy will not be the same as going back to 2019. It'll be a new normalcy. And we'll have to envision what that new normalcy is going to be.
So if there are any other questions, we're glad to take them. Otherwise, I would like to end this evening with my heartfelt thanks. Thank you so much, all of you that joined in from different parts of the world. Thank you so much for being here. I so look forward to have all of you tomorrow. We're doing session 2. We're going to be talking about positivity plus community plus activity is equal to immunity. That's the mantra for what we're doing now. Tomorrow also we will be talking about acceptance and being in the present. So do join us tomorrow. Thank you so much for being with us. Have a very wonderful evening and a good night. Namaste.
Thank you,
Thank
Roopa
you.
ji, and
Namaste.
thank you, Sundar ji.
Bye.
And thank you, Girish,
Bye.
for sharing
Bye,
your
everybody.
wonderful experiences. Yeah, with this, we conclude today's webinar. See you all tomorrow. Thank you.
See you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.